Please give us a sign. Nope. Lilith, are you there? And the Armenian participants?
Yes.
I do hear some noise. Okay, thank you. You're with us then. And we're starting the last session for today. It will be the presentation of the first training module from our training course, which is the Climate Smart Agriculture Concept and Approach. The module, as we mentioned, is developed by the Turkish partner Tekirdağ Namık Kemal University, and now Professor Fatih Konuckchu, who is actually the author, will make the first presentation for today, focusing and highlighting the main aspects that our multipliers should take in mind while learning and then also training the module. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Violetta. Good afternoon, dear friends. I'm very happy to be here to take part in this project with smiling faces in front of me. My name is Fatih Konuckchu. I am working for Tekirdağ Namık Kemal University. I'm working in this project as an expert for development of training courses. The title of my presentation is Climate Smart Agricultural Concept and Approaches. Actually, Climate Smart Agricultural Approach in the Black Sea Basin. I'm very lucky today because the two presentations before me, and Violetta and Netka, really make my work easier, make a good presentation and good introduction for my presentation. And I am also unlucky because of two nice presentations. Okay, and the last presentation of the day. I hope it will be useful for all of us. The content of climate smart agriculture, weather, climate and climate change, impact of climate change on agricultural production in Black Sea Basin, climate change, food security and challenges, definition of climate smart agriculture, sustainable production under climate smart agriculture, adaptation strategies to climate change, approaches to increase competitiveness in agricultural sector, ensure sustainability and mitigate climate change under climate smart agriculture, and finally, institutional aspect of climate smart agricultural implementation. I would like to remind a few things before outlining of this model, or the module 1. I try to outline the module 1, not give all the details, but I suggest to the trainer or now trainee to, as Violetta said, to look at the AGREEN platform. There are very useful information such as syllabus document and guidebook or other references, and crop modeling are really very useful document before starting our teaching. And it's better, I think, to tackle with the AGREEN platform before teaching or starting. Now, in the first section, what is the difference between weather and climate will be distinguished. Then what is climate change and the cause for the climate change will be described. I don't want to go to the, I select a few, slides here. In each section or in each strategies, I give examples for Turkey, for instance, but you can multiply the examples for your countries, for your areas, or even better to ask the audience, to ask the trainers their experience rather than giving all the information here. Okay, I will give here the general idea, but I will outline it within 1 hour, but it will take 4 hours. So it is better ask them what is their experience, how they, how they tackle with this problem. It's, I think, more important to make it a bit, interactive lecture. Actually, weather is a short-term state of atmosphere from 1 minute to a few days. If you say today Dobrich is sunny or not exactly, or cloudy or rainy, or heavy rain and storms are expected in Athens, for instance, are examples for weather condition. However, climate refers to long-term pattern of weather conditions from for many years, for instance, more than 40 years, even more. If you say continental climate is privileged in Bulgaria, or summers are very hot in central Turkey, are examples for climate. Climate change is then a long-term deviation in the average weather patterns defining Earth's local, regional, and global climates. This is just brief definition of the climate change. Earth climate system is controlled by greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases actually is very important for us. I mean, the Earth temperature would be 30 degrees lower than the average temperature of today if there is no greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. It forms as a blanket over the Earth. But the heat originally comes from the sea. The heat originally comes from the sea to the Earth, and then it's re-radiated from the Earth's surface. Most of the re-radiated heat escapes into the space, and little amount of the re-radiated heat retained in the atmosphere because of the greenhouse gases. However, if the greenhouse gases is more concentrated, then most of the re-radiated heat retained in the atmosphere, and little amount of the heat escape into the space. This causes to global warming, or cause other climate factors. It is not, of course, not as simple as this, but this is the main reason. Carbon dioxide is the most impactful greenhouse gases, and this is followed by methane, chlorofluorocarbons, ozone, nitrous oxide. But we always hear about carbon dioxide concentration or greenhouse gases. We never heard about methane. And this is because greenhouse gases are calculated as a carbon dioxide equivalent. That's why we hear about carbon dioxide. I mean, all these are considered, but they are calculated as the equivalent of carbon dioxide. There are two main reasons for the climate change. First is natural, which are solar irradiance, volcanic activities, plate tectonics, or continental drift. They cause climate change, but this is natural, and this may be balanced naturally. But the climate change, because of the human influence, is the problematic one. Because of atmospheric aerosols, land use such as deforestation or transformation of agricultural land into industrial or settlement area, and the most important one or the problematic one is the greenhouse gases due to fossil fuels burning. Okay. for many years, for millennia, the carbon dioxide concentration or the greenhouse concentration never exceeds this level. This is 300 ppm for hundreds, thousands of years. But after 1950, the concentration suddenly started to increase. And the present level is about 400 ppm. This is.
I'm sorry, can you speak a little louder?
Okay. Sure. Thank you. Okay. Because of the human activities, increase in the Earth global average temperature by 1 degree in the last centuries. And now increasing 0.2 degrees per decades. Okay, you can say 1 degree centigrade is nothing. For instance, southern Turkey is 5 degrees is higher than here. So what happened? You can compare with your body. What is the average temperature of your body? 36.5. So if your temperature, body temperature increase 2 degrees, what happens? You lie down. What we are talking about, the average temperature of the Earth will increase by 5 degrees. I mean, in some places, until the end of this century. 5 degrees means, I mean, consider yourself, your body decreases always about 40. Is it? Yes. Is it bearable? Of course not. So climate change, that's why, is the most crucial issue of the world now. Climate change and food security. You know, the Paris conference and Glasgow meeting, now in the meeting in the Egypt, is a really big problem. That's why we are really doing very, very good job. I mean, climate smart agriculture, I think here is a magic word if it is practiced. If you want to make a comment, you can just, you know, join with me. Okay. Some says there is no climate change. Well, a few years ago, even some scientists says there is no climate change. They claim so. Actually, there are evidences for climate change in the world. We are experiencing now. These are, for instance, increases in global land and ocean temperature, rising sea levels, losing ice at Earth's poles and in mountain glaciers, frequency and severity changes in extreme weather conditions such as hurricanes, heat waves, wildfires, droughts, floods, and precipitation. I mean, last year, we experienced very serious drought events as well as flood events caused many lives and commodities at the same time, in the same country, a small area. Maybe in 100 years we face this problem, but within a short time we face, I mean, the frequency increased every day. Okay. So in the second topic, impact of climate change on agricultural production in general and in Black Sea Basin will be described. In this part, decrease in suitability for agricultural production, decrease in water resources, increase in irrigation water demand and water stress, damages due to seasonal climate shifts, increase in the risk as a result of extreme weather events will be explained. First began with the decrease in the suitability for agricultural production. In the Black Sea Basin, apart from the Black Sea coastline, the decreases in spring and summer precipitation coupling with temperature rise and increase in evapotranspiration will lead to decrease in in the yield of crops and the area of the summer crops particularly. Summer crops, when we say summer crops, sunflower, corn, rice, bean, chickpea, lentil, sugar beet, cotton, vegetables and fruits, alfalfa and pastures. These are very vital for us. For instance, in Turkey, it is predicted that climate change will decrease the yield of some strategically important crops by, for instance, 9% in wheat, 10% in corn, 5% in cotton, and 13% in sunflower by the year 2000. A lot, really a lot. Actually, this is the average decreases. With the extreme climate events or extreme weather events, even this value will, go down and go up. With the extreme. This is the average value. This shortage of these crops be more problematic in the medium and long term. Okay, water resources will decrease. Irrigation water demand and water stats will increase. Actually, with the increase in temperature and increase in evapotranspiration, the amount of irrigation water needed could be doubled as compared to today. And even with irrigation, the crop yield will decrease because of the heat wave. There is water, but water will not do anything because of the heat wave. And increases in temperature, decreases in precipitation, prolongation of the crop growing season will lead to decreases in the number of frozen days. Okay, you are happy with the decreasing of frozen days, but this will cause many other problems. And Netka showed diseases, insects, and many other problems. You may never guess. Create soil water deficit in the cropping season, increases in the frequency and severity of the flood events, and loss of biodiversity. Okay, if the temperatures are higher than the expected at the beginning of the winter or in the early spring, it will cause early flowering of the plants. Then the a frost afterward will cause loss of yield and quality. Exactly. Exactly. This will be discussed in another section, but you see, maybe a few weeks later, almond will be flowering. So then a small, frost or weather condition, with low temperature will damage them. Yeah. The suitability for agricultural production will be damaged actually. If the cold winter cannot longer control them, some diseases and pests survive. Yeah. Or even multiply more and more every year, causing epidemics. Exactly. This is, I think, the most important issue. As temperature and humidity condition changes, the new diseases and pests can cause damages in the previously unseen one. The new insects or diseases will come. Okay. Prolonged droughts will cause risk of fire. The year before last year, we experienced very big fire problem in Turkey. Really, you heard about it, yeah. Yeah. Heavy rains, grain stagnation, and soil erosion will another problem. Extreme temperature will lead to decrease in quality and yield. Hail will cause big economic loss with the extreme climate events. the world population increasing every day. To feed this increasing population, the annual food production should be increased 60%. Yes, over the next 3 decades. You don't know? Yes. Now, in the world, 40 million people are die of hunger. If you divide it 300 per year, I mean more than 10,000 people in a day. In which war this many, I mean this amount of people die? Yeah, it's another issue. Yes, youth food. Well, I mean, okay, this may be a scientific solution for this, but do you want it? Yes. Yeah, yes. I mean, at least our children, or we should eat what we produce now. Yeah. I think there is always solution. There is always solution. But I mean, Netka also asked, what could be the solution? And Valentin gave good answer. I think there are two options here. I mean, or two phases. One is a policy, and the other is a technical issue. Technical solution is known, but the practice of this technical solution is a problem, isn't it? Yeah. Technically, I mean, scientists know how to solve the problem. Technically, is known how to decrease the carbon concentration. Come into the practice, it is difficult. Yeah. Okay. However, climate change undermines agricultural production system, food system, especially in developing countries. And on the other hand, agricultural sector are also a major contributor to the greenhouse emission. Now, emission from the agricultural sector directly accounted for more than 20%. So, therefore, agricultural sector need to overcome 3 intertwined challenges. These are, sustainably increase agricultural productivity to meet the global demand. This is sustainability or food security. And the second one is adapt or resilience to the impact of climate change. And the third one, to contribute to reducing the accumulation of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. This is the 3 pillars of climate smart agriculture, as Violeta summarized in this morning. To meet these challenges, FAO has developed and promoted the concept of climate smart agriculture. That's why I'm. Yes. I mean, sustainability or agricultural food production or sustainability under climate change is set, but the climate smart concept is new, relatively new. It's 12 years, but it's relatively new. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they always, change the pessimistic situation. The pessimistic situation will be optimistic or better situation 10 years ago, 10 years later. Yeah. Okay. Climate smart agriculture, as we said, is defined and presented by FAO at huge conference on agriculture, food security, and climate change in 2010. And it contributes to the achievement of sustainable development goals of UNDP. Probably you know 17 development goals of UNDP. Climate change or the prevention of the climate change is one of them. It integrates the 3 dimensions of sustainable development: economic, social, and environment, by jointly addressing the security of climate change. Okay, now we can define climate smart agriculture as an approach for transforming and reorienting agricultural production system and food value chains so that they support sustainable development and can ensure food security under changing climate. There are many definitions, but this is very, short and impactful one. So, we will concentrate 3 issues now: sustainability, adaptation, and resilience. The specific climate smart approaches for sustainable crop production is explained in detail in module 3. Just I want to say 4 issues and pass this strategy. The first one is increasing diversity, improving sustainable soil and land management, increasing energy use efficiency, promoting sustainable mechanization, and developing simple and robust scientific tools. And more are discussed in module 3. So I don't want to go into detail in this section. Another issue is adaptation strategies to climate change impacts. I think this is the most important issue under climate smart agriculture. Okay, mitigation is also important now, but we don't know what will happen. With the effort, huge effort, we cannot decrease the carbon dioxide concentration. So we have to find solution now for under the changing climate. This is the adaptation strategy we should follow. The adaptation has 3 possible goals: reduce exposure to the risk of harm, develop the capacity to cope with the inevitable harm, and take advantages of new opportunities. And the measure that can be taken for adaptation to climate change impact in Black Sea Basin are plant variety or species selection of breeding, crop diversification, change in cropping pattern, change in calendar of planting, mixed cropping or intercropping. 17 crop is actually, these are the strategies for the adaptation. If we look at our crop modeling, we actually provide very good examples. If you look at, it's very good. I'm very happy taking part of this project. Really, it's very good outcomes. So improvement in water and irrigation management, adapting soil, water, and energy conservation measures. Okay, the easiest way is to select crop varieties of any species resistant to unfavorable climatic condition or resistance to disease and pests. However, the new resistance selected, varieties may not be as effective as the previous one. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, please.
Can you go to the previous slide, please?
Yes. Is this one?
No, the previous one.
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you a little bit talk more detailed about the first 2 like adaptation has three possible goals. About the first, to reduce exposure to the risk of harm, and the second one, I didn't get it clearly. What do you mean?
Okay, I think to reduce the risk to the, to reduce the exposure to the risk of harm means to take precautions to, to decrease the risk. For instance, actually, if you take these measures, these measures is listed here to reduce the risk. For instance, in Turkey, we face yellow dwarf disease recently because of the climate shift, the seasonal shift. To prevent this, we shift the climate, the sowing date from October to November. So in this case, we, reduce the exposure to the risk. You can, increase the example. Or develop capacity means to increase the capacity of the farmers or scientists doing research or projects or other else. I don't know if it is clear.
Yes, thank you. I got it.
Maybe, maybe it may be more clear when we explain each of these measures. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Plant variety selection is another option. In Black Sea basin countries, lodging as a result of excessive precipitation, rust under humid condition, and heat stress under heat wave are common problem decreasing wheat yield and the quality. In order to prevent this, shorter stems varieties against lodging and resistance to varieties to heat wave and diseases for the wheat may be followed. For the sunflower, selection of drought and heat resistant varieties or early varieties may be practiced. Another alternative is to prefer plant species that are resistant to drought. For example, wheat requires more water than rice or corn. So we should prefer wheat to corn or to rice. Or we should prefer winter plants instead of summer plants. Resistant varieties to extreme weather condition can be, produced or improved or breed using the genetical resources of our region. Crop diversification is another adaptation strategy to climate change impact. Actually, under extreme weather condition, such as extreme temperature, frequent and intensive flood or cyclone, crop diversification could be an adaptation option and can improve the resilience as well. And by doing this, we can get these beneficial things. In Black Sea countries, considering the climate change impact or the data, legumes, forage, and oil crops should be included in the rotation for the diversified crop production. If we look at our farming system in our countries, the cropping system is simplified every year with fewer and fewer crop varieties. But diverse rotation provide higher crops in compare with the monoculture. There are long-term experiments done in Spain, for instance, for 37 years. They proved that with monoculture, they produce less amount of crop or yield. But if you change the crop pattern with diversified crop production, they get more production even under very dry condition. So this should be studied under irrigated or rain-fed condition. And in Black Sea Basin, legumes, forage, oil crops, grain, corn as a second crop should be increased in the cropping pattern. I think it should be discussed with the, the attendance of the, to the people or farmers, how they look at this, what is their idea in this issue. Because in our country, for instance, in our region, people doesn't want to sow wheat. They want to plant corn or sugar beet or fasulous, yeah, because they provide more income, but they use much more water than the other crop. Okay, we must have all noticed that this season have shifted, just we were talking about, and winter never comes. We are now, there should be somewhere snow even, but there is no rain. There is no rain in Turkey, in the trace part of Turkey, for more than 3 months. There is no rain, and farmers has not planted yet wheat now. Yes, too late. Yes, yeah. Yes. So planting dates should be carefully adjusted to the to take advantage of precipitation effectively and to get rid of the disease and pest. As I said, yellow dwarf disease is very big problem in Turkey now. If you sow the wheat in October, definitely they will get yellow disease. So if you shift the planting date to November, then you prevent this disease. And adjusting the planting time of sunflower, particularly in Trace region, for instance, in early spring, in order to benefit from the rainfall at the highest level. If you are a bit late, so dry period comes. So you should be adjusted very carefully. Yeah, I mean, the time is very limited. So mixed crop or intercropping, as Violeta said in the morning, is another strategy. In Black Sea Basin, annual crops may be planted between the orchard trees. I think if you look at the, the crop modeling, it's I think in Armenian or Georgian partner. Yeah, Georgia. Yeah, I think you can find very useful information, or even in your region, how mixed crop or intercropping improved should be discussed. Okay, this is also one of the most important. Maybe I don't know the other countries, but in Turkey it is very important. Improved water and irrigation management, because most of the water, available fresh water, is used for agricultural purposes. More than 70% is used for agriculture, but the water use efficiency is very low. In the world, the average is 40, the efficiency, which means 60% of the water diverted from a dam is lost. It is true, unfortunately. In Turkey, even worse, unfortunately. The water use efficiency is 35, which means 65% of the water is lost. Only 15% water saving from the agricultural purpose, from the irrigation, equivalent to the household water, all household water. You see? So in any case, efficiency can be increased by 10 or 50%. Easily you can increase it. You see, our irrigation water or the total water, the wasted total water is around 40%, because 70% is used for agricultural purposes, 65% is lost. So more than 40% of the total water is lost. What we predict now, with the climate change, water resources will be lessened by 30%. So we have option now if we improve the water use. Okay, how we can improve? Selection of plant with high water use efficiency, preference of pipe system in water transmission, preference of high efficiency irrigation systems, and application of deficit irrigation. I think supplementary irrigation or deficit irrigation, our colleagues are doing experiment with it, with walnut and sunflower. Deficit irrigation is, I think, the most important one. Deficit irrigation is an optimization strategy which irrigation is applied during sensitive growth of a crop. I mean, outside of the sensitive periods, irrigation is limited. So in this case, we should know which stage of the crop is sensitive and which crop is more sensitive than the other crop should be studied. If this information is known, then it is possible to produce more plant oil, more income with the limited or expensive water. In Turkey, experiments in Turkey show that the irrigation water use for cotton could be reduced up to 60%. With a small or minimal yield reduction. But there is this reduction even is not important or significant in statistically. So irrigation science is important. People should listen what scientists says. I think this is, I mean, in this case, their opinion, how they look at, how they see the scientific event, results, it should be considered. Okay, to increase water use efficiency or water production, we should increase the yield or income from per volume of water used. Okay. I mean, most of the irrigation water is lost. I mean, the 65% in Turkey, for instance, is lost due to the seepage and evaporation from the open channels with low transmission capacity. The channel or canal must be soon converted to a tubular system. The saved water can be used in irrigation sector or will be used in another sector, or extra farmland can be irrigated with this saved water. Otherwise, water loss will continue to environmental problem, causing salinization, water leaking problem, and other problem, and polluting the water resources, fresh water resources. It's not only the matter of water itself, but also environmental problem. Okay, the applied irrigation method also should be changed. Water loss according to the irrigation systems are changed very much. Here, central pivot irrigation or pressurized irrigation system should be preferred. In Turkey, for instance, the drip irrigation saved 5 to 15%. I mean, the loss is only 5 to 15%. 92% of existing irrigation system are surface irrigation, unfortunately. That's why we are losing 65% of our water, fresh water resources. 16% are sprinkler irrigation, and only 2% are drip irrigation in Turkey, unfortunately. So we need infrastructure, investment in this area. This is the most crucial one. That's why, I mean, sometimes okay, climate change come, drought will come and it will be affected, but we have option here. That's important. Okay, better residue management and mulching techniques, no or minimum tillage farming, increased soil organic matter may be considered among the soil, water and energy conservation measures. Better residue management, mulching, minimum tillage, or direct seeding increase soil organic matter and act as a mulch. And this lead increase in water infiltration, improve water soil holding capacity, and reduce soil water evaporation. With the climate change, I think in the world, the amount of precipitation will not change so much, but the regime of the characteristic of the precipitation will change more. And there will be long drought period and sudden precipitation. There should be a way to use this water profitably. The only way to increase soil organic matter, to hold this water profitably, to increase the infiltration of the soil and increase the holding capacity of the soil. This will also help to prevent soil erosion. This is another, important issue. Okay. These are some pictures from Turkey. What you can see is the direct sowing of second crop corn after the wheat. You can increase the examples in your country, but considering the amount of available land in Turkey, the direct sowing is too much less. It's very little, only 1 or 2%. But we have water shortage. I think we have option. That's why we have option. That's why climate smart agriculture or activities is important for our countries. Okay, the approaches to increase competitiveness in agricultural sector, ensure sustainability, and mitigate climate change under climate smart agriculture, another issue. Here, previous research on agriculture has focused previously only economic impact, but we should consider not only economically but also environmentally and social dimension. And not only all three, but also interaction between these three dimensions is very important issue. So what to do for this? Considering the technological developments, environmental sustainability, and competition have led to emergence of climate smart agriculture, organic farming, good agricultural practices, precision agriculture, digital agriculture, vertical agricultural practices, and smart green houses beside traditional, farming system. Yeah. So I don't want to go all the details for this farming techniques. This is in the presentation, in the guidebook. It is explained in detail. But what you can say, organic farming is expressed here. The use of organic farming or good agricultural practices for the environmental protection, or even to mitigate the climate change, both of them are very important. Precision agriculture, the use of them, what is precision agriculture and how they should be implemented is also explained. Vertical farming is defined, but here vertical farming is good, but if you use traditional energy is not good. You should use renewable energy. Otherwise, it would be more harmful than the new one. Okay, smart greenhouse gases, another greenhouses, another strategy. If we conclude the prevalence of climate smart agriculture, organic farming, good agricultural practices, precision agriculture, digital agriculture, and vertical agricultural practices in the Black Sea Basin countries will ensure the competitiveness in agricultural production, protection of the environment, adaptation to the negative effects of climate change, and prevention of climate change. In addition, they can contribute to development of new industries, increase employment, ensure sustainable socioeconomic development, and food security. That's why all these issues should be considered under the climate smart agriculture. Okay, the last topic is institutional aspect of climate smart agriculture and implementation. Actually, institution can support farmers, particularly smallholders, in the implementation of climate smart agriculture in the Black Sea Basin in three vital areas. These are producing and sharing technical knowledge, providing financial services, credit and access to markets, supporting the coordination of collaborative actions. I think this side of the climate smart agriculture is also discussed in other section. So I don't want to go into detail here. And even in our chapter also discussed in detail. The most effective initiatives allows researchers, community members, private sector actors, and policymakers to jointly define the problems aimed to solve. Under climate change, two types of advices are needed. These are, first, the information about the available options. These are technology and market. And secondly, information about the climate itself in the form of weather forecast or seasonal forecast or even climate change data in the long term. Institutional interplay should not only be horizontal, but also be integrated institutions vertically. Okay, this is the outline of Module 1. The information given here is the general, and I have tried to give some examples, but you can increase the number of these examples in your cases, and even other documents I have provided. Now I will be talking about the methodology of this module. In the morning, Violetta has already mentioned. Our chapter is more theoretical. So we don't have, assignment or project or other things. We have a small quiz and the okay. Okay. Copy just one or okay. Sorry, this way. Oh no, this one. Okay. Workload of the module, and each module actually has 5 hours. I outlined this maybe within 1 hour, but you will, take it within 4 hours. And 1 hour for self-learning. We will provide some, material for this. Assessment activities, which is not included in the total workout, but this is, I think, the test item. Yeah. So. Without. Okay. Okay. And delivery mode, as other module, the model is designed to serve as e-learning. However, it is also suitable for in-presence training or blending learning. We suggested here in-presence training, if possible. Otherwise, if there is an obstacle, such as pandemic, then it may be e-learning. This is the same. For further reading, and the feasibility studies, I mean, the feasibility reports are actually extremely important and valuable source, first of all, to know the situation in your area. Then the syllabus document itself. And the third document may be the, yes, I mean, guidebook and module. And then finally, the other English and Turkish, or in your language, the resources are very important to read them. Actually, for the first time, I listened about the AGREEN platform. It's really very good work. Yes. Yeah. Believe me, it's very, very useful work, really. I mean, very valuable. Yeah, thank you very much for everyone to contribute them. It's really very good work. Yeah. Yes, yes. I mean, well, actually, when I read for the first time the project itself, I mean, I really impressed. It's so much. Yes. Yeah. I mean, it is really. I'm very much interested. I'm very much interested in writing projects, I mean, EU projects, and this is really very well written. And the outputs, and very good work. And congratulations.